Hi, I'm going to share another tech tip with you all. There is a website called whiteboard.fi, and it is amazing because you can set up temporary whiteboards. You can also join and create an account and pay for it, but you can use this totally free and it is awesome. So I'm just going to show you a few really basic things just to get started with it and also some things you can train your students on. So you type in whiteboard.fi, it brings you to this website, and then you will click on plus new class. You are going to name your class. So I'm just going to keep it Zh's room. And then you are going to, you have options. You can enable a waiting room so that you can only allow the students in so that they have to wait until you let them in, just like Zoom. And then you can also enable manual save mode for students where the students can actually save their own whiteboard. So you can pre-select those. I'm just going to cruise into creating my new class to show you what it does. So it is creating my room. I also have an iPad hooked up here so you can see what the student view looks like when I enter the class. So here I am loading up my whiteboard. Might take a little bit. So it's going to load. So here's my whiteboard. Here is my room code. So for this room, this is my code. So I am going to either copy that into my Zoom meeting so my kids can join. I can show a QR code if I want them just to scan the screen and join with their iPad. There's a bunch of different options that you can use. So I'm just going to join with the code since I already have this laying down here to film for you. So I'm going to go to the room code as a student. I'm pretending I'm joining. Um, there we go. I would like to join. My name, so I have to put my name. And I join the class. So this is what I see as a student, and there I am. I show up on my teacher's board. So as teacher, I will see every student's whiteboard here with their name on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to toggle my whiteboard. So I'm going to click here. Now this is my teacher whiteboard. So if you notice, my one on the iPad is going to change according to what I put on my teacher one. So if I draw something on here, it's going to show up. But the very cool thing you can do, and this is what is totally awesome about this, is if you've ever had a practice worksheet, let's say, or a diagram or anything you've ever wanted to do with students, especially virtually, and you really wanted to see them writing on it, this is going to be your tool you're going to use for that. So let's say I get this for little kiddos. So I'm going to open it up. Here's my little alphabet practice worksheet. All I did was save the worksheet as a PNG so that I have it here available to put as the background of their screen. And then what you're going to do to make it go out, you'll see this little button here that says push. So if I click push, it is going to push it out to either all of my students, and it's going to send all the pages. So you could do multiple pages. So when you go down here, you can keep adding, like, see, I can keep going plus, and I could add more pages along the way. So I can add all of them out to the kids, or I can do the current page only, which is what I'm actually going to do. Or I can push it to the kids as their background. That way they can't alter what's on the page. So let's do push to students current page only, just to show you. So it's pushing it out. It says whiteboard successfully pushed. And now if you look at my student iPad, I now have the worksheet on my iPad. So it got pushed out to me. So it's going to push it out to every single child who's on a whiteboard in the class. So everybody has this whiteboard now with this template on it. So they can use either a stylus or their little pen, whatever it may be, and they can do their practice on here, and you can see them doing it as they're doing it because you're going to see everybody's whiteboard down here so you can see how everybody's doing on their assignments. But the very cool thing is, what, let's say assignment's done and you still want to keep it as evidence or you want to be able to look at everybody's later, you can go up here to the little gear at the top of the site, and let me move my version here. You can save all of their whiteboards as a PDF file, and then you can keep them. So if you do any sort of exit ticket like this, you can keep it as a PDF, or if you want to keep it for students to refer to later, like in the case of like a graphic organizer, let's say, or anything like that, then you would want to save it as a PDF to refer to later. So let's say I did this. This is the little 10 frame. So here's my little 10 frame. Obviously, you can format it so it fits correctly, and you have it set up so it fits your whole screen. And then you are going to set it up so that you can do um, your little work on it. So obviously I would format this differently. I just took a picture, like a screenshot of it. I would format it so that it fits correctly. But what I can do is I can okay, so here I have imported a math work mat. It's got the 10 frames on it, and it has a little problem space at the bottom. So I'm going to push this out to my students. I'm going to push it out as the background. So let me send it out. So there's my background. It's pushing it out to my students. Now my student over here has it, and they have the little 10 frame. So then let's say we practice and I have them put a circle in the 10 frame. And granted, this is going to take some practice of doing like the little drag and make circles. But again, I would do, if you're going to have them start using a 10 frame like this or something where they're going to have to move shapes around, do a low stakes, just let's make circles and make snowmen, or let's just make circles and make flowers or something where they just will practice making circles before you actually apply it to anything academic that you're going to ask them to do. So here's my little 10 frame back in here. So if I want to still have students work on stuff, but let's say not this, or let's say I have a work mat in general, or let's say I have a diagram I'm having them do, or whatever it may be. So if I push it out to be the background to my students, let's say that. So then when I push it out to them and they do their work on it, so here I am, little kiddo, and I'm going to put my little circles and my circles, and very badly, I'm going to write my little numbers here. Let's say that, um, and I'm sorry, elementary teachers, I'm probably totally doing this setup wrong, but I don't know if there's a set way you put them in the 10 frame. I would assume you do it filling left to right, but anyway, and again, like I said, if I didn't mention it before, if doing like these circles and things that you want the students to do, you're going to want to pick like a low stakes assignment to do to practice it. So just let's practice doing circles. Let's make little happy faces or snowmen or something or other so that they can just practice using the tool just for funsies on a blank whiteboard. And then you can make it where it is actually um, used for academic purposes, since they're going to be kind of pros at then moving things around. And they don't have to be perfect, obviously, but it's whatever works for you. So here I have my little 10 frames done, and I have 7 plus 1, hooray. So then I'm going to go to my little pen, and I'm going to put 7 and 1, which makes 8. And I do my little 7 plus 1 equals 8. So hooray, I did my problem. So my teacher can see my work down there, and there it all shows up. So down here, my teacher can see that I did the problem correctly. You would see everyone's work down here. Here's where things get kind of fun. So if I click on this kiddo and I go to, let me scroll down, and I go to my actions here. And my actions are either I can save this whiteboard as an image, I can erase this whiteboard if I want to erase it for my student, I can push this my teacher whiteboard to this student if I want to show them my example. I can push the teacher whiteboard to a student, which is my current page. I can push the teacher whiteboard to student background so I can put it on the same page for them to see, or I can copy to teacher whiteboard. What does that mean? That means here's my little kiddo's work, and I say, you know what? I have to share this with all of you. They were just fantastic with doing this work. Let me share it. It becomes my whiteboard, and I'm sharing the students' work on mine. So it pushes it out to all of the students to see it as my screen. So if I go down on here, oops, as I'm erasing stuff. So if I go down on mine, here is mine, and then here is my teacher whiteboard. So when I set mine up to see both, I can see the teacher's whiteboard. So this is the teacher's version of mine that they're sharing. So little student me has my work on display to the whole class because it got pushed out and everybody's seeing it. And then this is mine that I was working on. So mine's still here, and my little stuff I did, the stuff I did on it after the teacher shared it doesn't show. So all this little weird stuff I did when I scrolled isn't going to show on the web page that, not the web page, the whiteboard. It's not going to show on the whiteboard that the teacher shared because um, it was shared at that moment that it was shared. So then this becomes my whiteboard that I'm sharing. So then here I've shared the student's work. It's right there. And then I can go to another student. If I had another student, I could share their whiteboard too, or I can always go back to my original 10 frame and work from there. So this is a great tool to use. Again, I would say low stakes assessments. The other neat thing is that you can use a PDF in here. However, you do have to pay to be able to do it. There is a workaround though. So let's say you have an awesome PDF and you really want to use it. Let me go to this. So I'm going to show you my kind of shortcut way of doing this. And it's worked out for me to kind of convert things that are not allowed to be converted. So let me get these open so I can show you the really quick workaround that works out so well for things like this. And I'm hoping it's going to let me open it, but my internet is being slow, unfortunately. Okay, so I will rejoin you when it opens it up so I can show it to you. Fantastic. So let me do it one more time with you. So I'm going to take a screenshot because I would like for us all to work on this chart together. So I'm going to shrink it up a little. I'm going to hide this so you don't see that. And then I'm going to put it in my frame that I want. So there it is. Good enough. It's no biggie. I'm going to do control print screen together. So control and print screen. It's going to copy my screenshot. I'm going to come over here to paint and I'm going to paste it. And here I have my whole thing. I also need to not get weirded out that I have a double iPad screen. But I'm going to now, I'm going to shrink it up a little so I can see everything I want to see. There is my chart I want. I'm going to select. I am going to crop it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's up to you. So I'm going to crop it, crop. I am going to save file, save as PNG. And then I'm going to save it to my computer in my downloads. I'm going to call it chart. And these, I mean, you should delete at the end of the week or whatnot if you don't need any of these images anymore. I usually delete them every Saturday or Friday night, so I don't have a bunch of stuff saved onto my hard drive. So this is going to save, 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 save. So there, it saved my PNG. So now I have a PNG, or you could save it as a JPEG, whatever floats your boat. So then I'm going to go back to Whiteboard FI. So let's see. The one I just saved was, I don't know what just closed, but that's okay. So the one I just saved was my chart. So I'm going to put that, and then I'm going to insert it. So I'm going to open it, and then there is the chart that I wanted the kiddos to work on. So that's a way to work around any sort of PDF that you want the kids to do. You can just do a screenshot and save it as a PNG or a JPEG, and then you can insert it without having to pay to have the PDF feature. And then again, I'm going to push it out to all my students. So let me push it out. There we go. I'm going to send out this page, and it should have gone out to my kiddo. Let's see if my kiddo got it. So here's my kiddo's iPad. They're seeing the teacher view, and now they got their student version. So here's them watching me. So if I write on here, they will see everything I am writing. So whatever this may be, I'm just gonna scribble so you can see it, that it shows up eventually on theirs. So I just did that, and then it should eventually show up on their iPad that I did that. Basic. This is still just a whiteboard. So, I mean, you can write on it, draw on it. They can insert a text box. Again, I would practice inserting text boxes just because it is going to take a little bit to get used to it. The text box is right here, it's the letter. And then they just would put in the text box and then start typing. So that would just be that. And it will auto adjust to their it'll auto adjust the font to how much they put into the text box. So it will change. So I'm just going to put I am a text box that you are typing in for this whiteboard activity. And I can shrink to fit your text. So here is my text box. I can move it, I can shrink it up a bit, whatever. It's just like a regular Office, Google, whatever text box. So I can shrink it up, I can drag it, I can drag it over, whatever you want to do. Let me get it and drag it to show you. And you got to grab it by the little circles, and then you just drag it over. So there it is. And if you want to put in your enter so it wraps around, you can do that too. So that is pretty straightforward. So just to keep in mind, this is still just a great whiteboard itself. So you can use just like a virtual whiteboard. I know Zoom has that whiteboard feature, but this one's also kind of nice because again, you can save as a PDF and you can save student work. So you can either use the text box feature and type in here and have students type in the text box, or you can even put a prompt and have them answer to it, whatever it may be. Very, again, similar to Jamboard. And then you can do just that they write their response, whatever it is, or draw whatever you want them to draw, or solve whatever you want them to solve, do letter practice, whatever it is. I'm doing this on my desktop, so of course I can't do it as well on here. And that's one thing to keep in mind. Like, this is very, if you're going to use it for the actual whiteboard just writing on, then iPads are the way to go. If your kids have mostly Chromebooks or laptops, then I would use the text box feature if possible. And then again, the little kiddos can just do their deal on their version of it too. So that is a very short and sweet tutorial on just getting started with using Whiteboard. And then I will share some more with you. The very important thing, once you are done with the whiteboard, two things actually I learned. Number one, you can't set up your whiteboard that far in advance. I did it the night before and it was already gone because this is very temporary. So you want to set it up like the morning of class, or probably even like 15 minutes before you're going to use it. And then you also will want to close it. So when you're over here and you are done and you are closing it out, you can close the room when you're done with it, and it will close it out, and nobody else can write in it, nobody else can do anything to it. um, that's it. And then if you made a mistake and you didn't mean to close it, or you decided you wanted to like save the PDF really fast, you can click that little link that showed up for like 2 seconds, and you can say that you want to go back to it. So hopefully this helps you out, and you give it a go and you try out using Whiteboard FI. Have fun.